Say, this meeting is open May 22nd, Plymouth Village Water and Sewer District.
I will make a motion, we accept the minutes from the May 7th meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we sign the manifest and payroll as presented.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's take care of this.
I cannot believe that May is already almost
Yeah,
over.
May's blasting.
Mosquitoes are letting us know that.
And the black flies.
Oh, I forgot to date that, yeah.
Really?
You want me to do it for
The
you?
ticks are the problem. I've had a huge amount of ticks in my house.
2/3 a cup of vinegar, 1/3 water, and spray it on your legs. They won't get on you.
2/3 vinegar and 1/3
Two-thirds
water?
of a, 2/3, yeah, whatever the mixture is, 2/3, 1/3 vinegar and water. Put it in a little spray bottle,
There you go.
99 cents from Agway, and they don't get on you. Or at least when I've sprayed
That's
myself, they
for
don't get on me.
Steve.
I've had them, none of them have been embedded, but I just
Yeah.
have found them
I don't like them. I
So,
don't even like seeing them.
right.
okay, it looks like we're ready to go on to new
I really don't want to get
business.
Lyme disease.
Oh, there's one more.
I put the other one under there for you already.
And another that way. Okay, new business. Pump number one, 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Explanation, please.
Okay, so we have an offer from the Water Pollution Control Revolving Loan Fund account for this 1.5 million, and it's here, but I'm not gonna ask you to act on it because we want to wait until we know what the funding is from rural development.
Okay,
So it is here.
what's the rate?
Highlights?
We probably would go, well, I didn't look at it too hard because we're not gonna do anything with it at this point. We will, it's 2%, because we knew
Okay.
that from the meeting. We'll probably use them for interim finance, but not for the loan at this time, at this point, until we find out. We need to know what the whole package is too,
Yes.
so. All right, so that's one item.
All right, so number two would be Wright Pierce change order request for the
Yep.
Penta work.
Yeah, and
Is that the 37?
Jason's here if you want any detail, but basically, there's a change order for $10,000, which would fit into, I've got it, which
Okay.
would fit into the budget that we have now. And making this change order means that conduit and piping can go through for a piece that's gonna be in phase 2. So do it now rather than dig it all
Up
up and have
again.
it cost more later.
Well,
The
that's,
excavation-
As long as we've got the money?
Yeah, and it's within our budget that you've approved
Already approved.
for that project. So that would
that
need,
sounds like wisdom all around,
Yeah.
yes?
yeah, that would need a motion. It's $10,080.23.
I make a motion that we accept the change order request for Pensa, $10,084.
$80.
$80.84.
23.
23
23
cents.
cents, yeah.
So moved.
Okay.
All those in
That
favor?
And let me
Do I
find, let me see if
Aye.
I don't know if there's a signature block on this.
So Jason, are they wrapping up work there, or well, actually, with this, maybe another week or two?
Yeah, they started the force main going from the gravity thickener back to the tanks
You sound sick.
and allergies.
Oh,
Force main going back to the tank, and the original force main was going to go into tanks 3 and 2, which would be the equalization tanks. Tank 1 will eventually get a pump and force main, so we're looking to install that, extend that to pump the tank 1 for future pump and force main, and also provide a clean out point in the interim.
So it
Excellent.
just gives us greater flexibility or for expansion. All right, so that's
Nothing to sign for that one?
well, I could not
Where's
find a
the sign?
signature There isn't anything to sign.
All right, so it's just by
Yeah.
motion, okay.
I mean, now that you've,
Approved work anyway, we're just changing something, right?
well, it's a
But this
change
is-
order to the contract, and we'll get this back to Wright Pierce, and probably Wright Pierce will send something to
And then we'll
sign.
have to sign
Okay,
it.
all right. Next up is this memorandum of agreement, historic preservation measures as required by rural development
Right.
funding.
This is a
We-
new thing.
Well, I think we've had to, do this before, but we didn't have anything show up in the archaeological study.
Okay.
So, and we're hoping that that's the case this time, but in order for Wright Pierce, for rural development to go forward, they need us to agree that if there is any kind of archaeological, historic, important matter that comes up as we go about our projects, that we will stop and honor the historic preservation officers'
Request to do work,
administrative
yes.
rules, yeah.
Mhm.
So you should vote on this, and then somebody needs to sign it. You know, they need to get to, there's no adverse determination, and then we're home free, and that's what,
Right.
you know, we hope for. But if there is anything that arises, we want to honor that.
Yeah,
at
we
same
do the right
time.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to do
Sure.
the honors,
I
please?
make a motion that we sign the memorandum of agreement between rural development and us via the New Hampshire State Historic Preservation Officer information for archaeological historic preservation.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So I guess we're actually
And you-
authorizing me to.
And
Yeah.
authorizing Chris to sign it.
Okay, that would be me. Okay,
Okay.
right. Next item
The
would be,
next is just an announcement that last Thursday, the planning board held a hearing on a two-lot subdivision abutting our property on Reservoir Road. The owner is Marjorie Bishop. She's a long-time property owner. I think she's got a number of parcels, but this is after the fact. You get the notice. I don't know.
As all abutters would.
As all abutters would,
Right.
right. It's 15.5 acres proposed for each of two new lots, and reserving 97 acres. She's a large property owner, so.
is there any reason that, Jason, you would think that there would be any adverse impact on our property because of this subdivision?
I don't think the subdivision would. I'm not sure what's proposed there for the future.
But we have
That's
water
something.
source, so there's development restrictions anyway. I wonder if the planning board happens to have a copy of that information.
Oh, yeah, they would.
Okay, then I would think we would be awesome.
Oh, a copy of the restrictions.
Yes.
Are the restrictions just on our property, or do they apply to?
No,
the-
it's wellhead protection and water storage. I would think that there's
Do you want to check on
some
that?
I can check in the,
delineation of whatever.
You got this?
yep.
Yeah, it seems like that would be appropriate
Yeah.
to notify the,
If there is something, I mean, it's just our storage tank, so it might be a little bit different than like the wellhead protection area.
right.
So I don't know what the regulations are, but if we've got them, it would be nice if we would send them up
Just to
there.
notify us. Okay, next up.
Yep, next can be two things. One is that I had a call from Mary Jane Meyer at DES. She had another question for me, but she also wanted to heap praise on our superintendent and the district for the water festival.
It
with
was
the-
so much fun. Those kids
Yeah.
were awesome.
Cool, the fourth graders?
Yeah.
And hundreds of them running around town. So
But
anyway,
the-
she really was pleased. and-
Yeah, the ones that presented to us were well-spoken,
Nice.
cute little,
And you two were judges.
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was
I'm
a lot
ready
of-
to be
it
a
was
judge again next year.
Nice, good. Well, DES was very pleased, very impressed with
Great.
everything.
Yep.
And the other thing is that DES awarded the district the 2018 Source Water Sustainability Award for our work on protecting Foster Street wellheads
Nice.
and for exploring new water source across the river.
Nice.
wow.
That's awesome.
Thank you to them.
And
Take a bow.
thank you to Jason. I was
Thank
gonna
you to
say, we
Jason, yeah.
couldn't have done this all without Jason, so it keeps coming back to
That
Jason.
was presented at the DES Source Water Conference last Thursday at the Grapponi Center in Concord. So myself, Gary, John, and Fred went.
Nice.
So they were recognized, yeah.
Excellent. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know when these things are gonna happen, or are they like a complete surprise?
I got a phone calls from DES for a nomination and they asked for a little write-up, so.
Okay, so you sort of know
Provide-
you've been
provide
nominated, but
information.
you don't know about the final outcome.
Correct.
Very nice. Those are good surprises. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Emery and Garrett service contract.
Right, Emery and Garrett, as you know,
Yes.
is our well exploration expert.
Yes.
And he, he and I have talked back and forth this spring, and he submitted a service contract with a timeline for the further exploration and then all the way to permitting, as we've planned. And I was concerned that if we signed and let him go, that we might jeopardize some of the funding, now that we've got water funding in the hopper. So I checked with Chris Berg, and he checked with the DES contact, and because most of this work is exploratory, it's design rather than construction, it's okay for us to proceed. But what has been recommended, Andrew? Hi, Andrew. What has been recommended is that we just approve the first $185,000 of this contract and let them do that much, and then when we come back for the rest, we'll know what the funding is.
Funding is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a very comprehensive agreement, but, and the third page is timeline.
Right.
And they've actually already started work, because he's such a good guy that he's not worried about the contract. He's getting it started. We've already been working with him.
So this timeline outlines phase 3, 4, and 5. Phase 3 is complete the on-site testing of existing small diameter test wells, exploratory test well drilling,
And that's
8-inch diameter screened well installation. So that's all happening this year.
Yeah, and then we have stuff that's going into 19.
Right, so then later this year in phase
20.
4, production well drilling, well development, aquifer testing,
Yeah.
and then next year is, the reporting, public hearing, response to public input, and I guess that's all of the,
And
The
I can
finalization
explain
stuff.
to Jamie Emery that our intention is to approve the whole service contract, but because
it's a
of the funding.
technicality,
yeah,
yes, right,
yeah,
because of
he'll
funding,
understand,
yes. Sure, that's,
if that's okay with you.
so I need a motion, I guess, to authorize me to sign off on this service contract.
I make a motion, we sign the service contract for $185,000 to Emery and Garrett groundwater investigations for more well
Yeah, we'll make a notation on that.
exploration.
I'll make a written notation on that before we send it back.
Okay.
So moved.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right,
All right,
so signed.
thank you. We received a letter and a little list of responsibilities for owners of wastewater treatment plants, and it says right in the letter that I gotta give it to the sewer commissioners. And it's just sort of a reminder that you've got responsibilities in terms of certification, training of the staff, making sure that the operation is good and that we're putting safe effluent back into the river. And I think we are doing all these things, but it's just a reminder to the owners of the responsibilities that they have and the relationship between, some of the owners have contractors, as you know.
Right.
You know, we have our own staff that operates, so we've got a very close relationship, but this seems like DES thought the owners of wastewater treatment plants needed a little reminder about what the responsibilities are, so there you have it.
Okay, Jason.
Fiscal responsibilities as well to provide enough funding
Right.
to operate, so that's another component.
Yeah, I see that.
Yep.
So you guys can take those home with you, all right?
This comes from
DES.
DES,
Yeah.
presumably, yes.
Yeah.
All right, that may complete new business unless anyone else has other issues.
I know we've talked about this. I actually have quite a quick question. We've talked about it before, we just forgot. What is the what's going on over at the lot just west of the liquor store and McDonald's?
It is going to
An Irving.
supposedly be
Large gas
a
station.
large Irving
Yes.
gas station and mini mart.
And we're right now negotiating the mainline extension agreement with them, which will come before you.
Right.
Yes. Old business.
Yep.
Medical and dental coverage rates for fiscal year 19.
Yeah, this just came in today, and you might remember the medical rates send us a GMR,
Not
it's
to
the guarantee,
exceed.
and the rates are the same.
Okay,
So,
that would be the answer to the
I
question.
think you can either vote on this or authorize me to sign. We have to send back that we've acknowledged what the rates are, but they're what we put in the budget, so.
You want to make a motion, Steve?
Yeah, why don't we just make a motion
Sure,
to authorize
that's
the
good.
district administrator to sign the medical coverage rates.
Judy?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Next up would be correspondence to and from the town of Plymouth. We have
Here's the
received a letter on
whole packet for you.
exact date, received May 8th. This letter was in response to our proposal at a previous meeting regarding the 50-50 cost split. This is in relationship to Foster Street. I know you all have seen this letter. In this letter, the town advises us to not excavate or otherwise disturb the roadways without getting a permit, and acknowledges that we have the right to do things in the case of emergency without a permit, and also importantly says any conversation concerning this letter should take place before the select board at a regular scheduled meeting. And then, all right, we have a copy of the excavation permit. I've looked at that recently.
Do you want that letter? Do you want to look at the letter?
It's right there too, the one that's highlighted back at you, right?
Oh. Well,
Are you
this,
looking for the? to look
No,
at the-
I thought you were going to go to talk to the other one, but
It's
well, that is the
one.
same letter that
Right.
was provided back to Jason in response to
Yeah.
Jason's providing information on the pump station, proposed pump station
Right.
work.
Things crossed.
Right, and I was gonna say, it's kind of unfortunate that nobody was here for our meeting on the 7th, when we discussed postponing doing any road work on, finishing paving and stuff like that, in order to give the district a chance to, not the district, the town a chance to come up with money, because they had said at our meeting on the 3rd, or whatever our meeting
You, the
was.
7th,
No, before, when they attended our meeting, it was the,
would have been April 24th or whatever it was.
right. Well, whenever we made the motion, they had said that they were kind of out of money and that they didn't think they were gonna be able to do that. So we sort of knew that the 50-50 wasn't,
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember.
yeah,
You
it
met on the
was the
first?
first, it was maybe May 1st then.
Yeah, it was May 1st.
That it was
yes.
difficult
For, right,
for from a funding point of view.
Right.
So just to backtrack a little bit, we met on May 7th for a meeting and sent the town another letter saying we were
Right.
going to hold off on
And-
paving
Right.
to give them maximum flexibility as to dealing with the drainage issue that they wanted
Right.
to permit it, the
Yeah.
easement, et cetera, for that.
Well, I have a couple of things that I'd like to sort of bring forward. So the first thing is that according to the state of New Hampshire, and I'm holding this lovely document in my hand, the Plymouth Village Fire District, so this was back in 1893 when fire districts were recognized as being such. The Plymouth Village Fire District in Plymouth in this state is hereby authorized and empowered to, construct, purchase, manage, and own waterworks for introducing adequate supply and stuff like that to the citizens in the district. But the other part of it that's really important that I'm not 100% sure the town quite understands is that we can dig ditches in the highway and streets in said district and to place and maintain pipes for conducting water and to relay, extend, repair at our pleasure, having due regard for the safety of its citizens and the security of public travel. So technically, I'm going to put technically in big words, we do not need to go to the town to ask for permission to dig in roads if it has something to do with water. Okay? We do if it has something to do with sewer because that isn't under the same purview as this. But with water, we do not have to get permission. We do not have to tell them we're going to do anything. But we do because that's kind of the right thing to do. It's the right thing that the town should know that this is what we're going to be working on. We've tried very hard to make sure that we have open communication. We let them know what streets we're thinking of opening. And we've been, as far as I know, not keeping any secrets and not trying to hide anything when we're going to go work on town roads. Okay?
This was an act of legislature.
Yes,
That's the state of New Hampshire.
it was.
Yes, okay.
So,
We have
This
two
is
pieces
this-
of legislation. 1893 enacted the water
right,
part, the name changed later to
right.
Plymouth
to-
Village. And in 1963, the legislature enabled the existence of the sewer
Right.
portion of our district.
Right,
And then later we had town votes to combine them, and that was ratified by the legislature in the name change.
right. So we are now Plymouth Village Water and Sewer District, an extension of this, or
Right.
continuation of this original
Yeah.
agreement. The other thing is that I'm a little disappointed that we haven't heard back for our letter about postponing paving and allowing the town to come up with funds to be able to put in their catch basin and things that they want. And they're asking us to come back to them and meet them at their meetings. So first thing is, if the town is really serious about wanting to put in a catch basin and a drainage ditch, then I would think that this extension of time would benefit them because they would then have time to go back and apply for any permits that they need and things like that. And if they're not serious and they don't want to put in the catch basin, then don't rake us over the coals for asking, for us giving them an extension. If they're not serious about putting in the catch basin or anything like that, then let's finish paving the road and be done with our project. It's like fish or cut bait. Don't yell at us. We have a road, we have a contract, we have engineering specs. We've got all of the things that the town has asked us to get. We have a sign off from the road agent that he saw said plans. So either let us do our project or work with us and
don't, the citizens of Plymouth should not be,
they shouldn't suffer because of this. You know,
Yes.
we should be able to do what it is we need to
this
do.
is a cut and dry engineering project.
My last concern is them telling us we have to go to their meetings in order to say things to them. So we are not the town. We do not go to planning board meetings. We do not oversee the Conservation Commission. We don't do those things. That is what it means to be a selectman. That you go to the other boards in your town in order to ask questions, find out what's going on. We don't have to go to their meetings. We do not have to get permission for water projects in the ground. Chris has been great about going to meetings and being there to answer any questions. But I feel like every time we go or try to present something, we're the ones getting raked over the coals for trying to do our jobs. And that's what I have to say.
I think it might be wise of us not to rely on this law that's well over 100 years old. It might be wise that we get some legal advice to find out what we actually are required to do before we open a road. I hope you're not suggesting we're just going to arbitrarily open a road to do work because that piece of paper says
No,
we can't.
that's what I'm saying. We
Okay.
wouldn't do that
Okay.
because we are diligent about letting the town know. We're always forthcoming about what roads, Jason doesn't hold his cards to his chest and not tell people what's going on. But the idea that the town is saying in this letter that we need to cease and desist and we cannot do anything in roadways unless it's an emergency is actually a falsehood.
Well, I think that's yet to be determined, Judy.
Why?
Well,
We have a law.
Yeah,
that's-
it's 100 and something years old too. We just don't, but I don't think we're on strong enough ground to say that's accurate yet.
Okay,
I mean,
I'm sure Mel can look into that.
and I think we should before we
Definitely.
talk like this. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The other question at hand here is the question of having to go before a board to get a permit. And it is not the case that any contractor in this town has to go before the
Yeah.
board to get a permit. We should not be treated any differently than that.
I agree.
We apply,
Yeah.
we make an application, it should be handled like any other contractor would present that application.
Right.
I don't think there's any question
Right.
there that's a way of doing business. A permit is not asking for permission to go speak before a board. It is it's providing information to the town for the right to do something
And
according to their specifications.
I agree with you because the letter seems to suggest that the permitting process is twofold. You submit a process and you come before the Board of Selectmen. And I don't believe coming before the Board of Selectmen is part of the permitting process. So I don't think we need to do that. But I happen to agree with you on that.
That meaning go to the board,
Correct. Yeah,
but we would submit the permit.
absolutely,
Yeah.
like everybody
Right.
else does. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah,
And we
and
have-
I'm just going by the letter of the law here, or the letter of their memo seems to suggest that their permitting process is twofold. Submitting the permit and coming before.
But yet there's nothing in the permit document that says that you have to
Right.
go before the board.
Right,
And we've always submitted permits,
sure.
right? This isn't anything new that we haven't done this before.
How many permits have we submitted since the first of the year approximately?
There was mostly just for the emergency digs, Pleasant Street, Highland Street.
Yep.
And that's been it really since the beginning of the year. We have.
But Foster Street was last year,
Right.
right? I mean, we have the permit,
We have not submitted a permit on Foster Street.
okay. What would be the reason for that?
We asked for comment from the town, and we had not received any. And we were under the impression there was no comment, so we didn't apply for a permit for that road.
And that's because it has been an understanding for some time, some number of years, that the district has not been required to submit a permit for its general work. Would that be a true statement? Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I know the answer.
okay.
We should find out if we've submitted permits in the past
Well,
besides
I
the
mean, Jason
couple-
hasn't been here that long, but
Right,
And we haven't opened up that many town roads
right,
since either one of
That
us
was
has
the
been here.
that was the first
There's
town
one.
road since I've been here.
okay.
well, but we have. I mean,
Well, the emergency digs, so,
Right.
But I mean, why is that any different than if we cut an area around a manhole so that you can reset it? I mean,
we're
that's-
not applying for permits for that, we're just fix our manholes.
We have not been, to my
Right.
knowledge.
We hadn't been told before that we had to apply for a permit.
Okay.
And I know you did a number in
Yeah.
the area around where I live, so sometime last year.
Yeah, we were fixing all the sunken
Yes.
ones,
Yes. Or yeah.
In anticipation of
and
this
that's a state
discussion,
road.
in anticipation, and I think they're before you, Mr. Chairman, I asked Jason to complete permits for the work that we do have on the horizon now,
Yes.
at your suggestion yesterday.
Right.
So they're there if,
Yeah, I had met with Mel
yesterday morning.
yesterday morning and suggested that we should at least get the process of, pending discussion this evening, for the work across the street here, which is coming up very soon, as well as Bailey Avenue and Langdon Park Road. And we have, I believe Jason
There are three.
has these 3 permits here.
One is for across the street, the pump station, one's for Bailey Ave and Langdon Park Road, and the other is for general, as you mentioned, manhole repairs and, what do they call those boxes?
8 boxes.
Gate boxes for the water.
But I have provided the town highway department with the full set of plans and specifications. They can view them here at our office at their leisure. I also provided them with the specific parts, because it's an 800-page document, so I weeded out all the parts that cover the pavement for that project, and I've provided that to them in an email.
Okay.
So they have that information, and I also asked for any comments be submitted to me on or before May 25th, which is this coming Friday. And this was sent to them about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago.
I don't know if I should be the interpreter of the town's letter, but it seems to me that this is your answer.
Right.
Put it on an excavation permit and submit it that way, is my read of this.
Right, I mean, I think it's appropriate to provide other information besides the filling in the form for the permit, but,
Right, the permit now doesn't call for that, but
Right, I asked in my email when I submitted that information, I referenced the trench permit. I said, other than conditions 8 through 17 on the trench permit, is there any other standards that the town has that they can provide us to be able to put in our specifications so that we can comply with their requirements?
And they said they want you to use the excavation permit? I'm confused.
well, it doesn't say that specifically, but when they dropped this letter off that was addressed to the commissioners earlier, basically they yellow highlighted the part about you got to do an excavation permit. I mean, this was addressed to Jason today. In other words, we got your request, we got your plan submittal. You need to do a permit application and appear before us.
I guess I need to pose a hypothetical question here. And that, I guess we're facing the reality that we can apply for a permit and either receive no response, because we received no response yet regarding our letter of May 7th regarding Foster Street. We may receive no response, or number two, we may be told in plainer language than this, or repetitive language, that we need to go before the board. And I guess we have to ask ourselves, how are we going to respond to that? I mean, at that point, we're being asked to do something that a regular contractor, and there's several open,
Right.
there's a bunch of open ground in this town right at this moment. I drove by one on the way to this meeting tonight, right off of Fairgrounds Road. They didn't go before, to my knowledge, they did not go before the select board to get that permission. So what are we gonna do?
So in following up with, sorry,
I think they want to have a discussion about what are we going to do. Hang on a second.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you.
I don't know what to do. I think Steve's right. Let's get a current copy of what it is we're allowed to do or not allowed to do.
Or, you mean a legal?
We'll get a legal opinion as to whether
Right.
Right, this document
is
is
still in effect.
valid.
And, you know, that's chapter law. The statute governing the excavation permit is statutory law, you know, and that's where my
knowledge stops.
I mean, what trumps, basically?
Right.
What's in effect? Is that still in effect because it's specific legislation to this district, or is it been superseded by
By some other.
Something else.
By
statutes
something
that
else.
have come into?
Specific to our district, or something that could be statewide, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the excavation permit is certainly general. Every town has that authority. But in our small case, does it trump the authority the legislature gave us in 1893?
Right.
You know,
And I don't know the answer.
along the lines
We
of
can-
local control.
Yeah, I mean, that's very specific legislation. I need to talk to an attorney to get better.
I think that we probably need to know that
Yeah.
answer.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yep. And, you know, I was not saying at all that this is what we should be doing. What I'm saying is that it seems like the rules are changing because they're dealing with us compared to how they would deal with any other contractor.
Well, that remains to be seen.
Agreed.
So I said appears.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion on this topic? Jason, you have anything?
yep, I'd like to just add that in absence of receiving any standards from the town for their roads, I tried to do a search on my own in all the town documents to see if there was any reference to standards or standards themselves. And the only thing I found was two sections in the zoning ordinance. Section 504, which was general requirements, states, under section roads, all roads shall be designated and constructed in accordance with town road standards. So that's assuming there are standards somewhere, and I have requested those from the town as referenced. Another section in the zoning ordinance, section 1102.8, work exempt from permitting under repairs. A permit is not required for ordinary repairs or maintenance of structures, repaving or repair of any previously paved surface, or the clearing of stoppages or repair of leaks in plumbing supplies or drains. So that is an exemption from permitting.
What section was that again, please? 'Cause I know that's.
Say it out loud for the camera. Yeah, he asked the section number.
It's 1102.8.
Thank you.
Yes.
Work exempt.
Yeah, this is new to me.
So I did ask for clarification on that from Joe Fagnant as well as Brian Murphy.
Okay.
When did you ask them?
I believe
Now,
it
that's
was
for
today.
repairs, that's not for new work.
Right.
Yeah, see, ordinary repairs do not include water supply, sewage, sewer. So if we're
Oh,
doing
yes.
an alteration of a relocation of water supply or sewer, then it sounds like we do need permits.
Well, I think we're all in agreement that the permitting piece makes sense.
Yes.
I mean, that's just general governmental practice. The only thing that we take exception to is having to go before the board because, as I think the chair said, other people aren't going before the board either. Are we all in agreement with that?
Mm-hmm.
I think so, yes.
Yep.
Until we get some guidance from legal counsel on the validity or the how valid this law is, we're kind of in a standstill. Okay.
Purchase recs by consent agenda. We have two.
All right, change the subject.
Yes.
We do have
Moving
two.
on to something that's
Yeah.
numerical and simple.
Here you go. And I believe that you've already signed a purchase order for 3 lakes.
A blanket one seems
for
like we
mowing,
did.
summer
Yeah, something
mowing.
like 5,000.
This is their contract, so
Okay.
just, you've already voted to do this, it's
Yes.
just really signing
Seem
the
to remember
contract.
that from,
What properties do they mow?
Oh, gosh, they mow at the plant, they mow here, they mow at our
pump stations,
and
yeah.
all over the place.
$5,200, yeah, I remember that. All right, we got 2 POs. The first one is $843.19, payable to Cone Inc. for inspection of pump number 5 elevator. And then the second would be 1,000 even to HP Fairfield to replace a hydraulic line on the Ford F550.
Make a motion to approve the purchase orders as read.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have these other things to sign too, I'm not sure what those are.
Oh, yes, right. That could be other business here.
I don't know what they put here for you.
Septage receiving interim financing. First one.
Oh, it's probably a money transfer.
So that was to be
reimburse the-
signed with the
Yeah,
manifest?
yeah. It is a form of a manifest. Just while you're signing those two.
Yes.
We are still awaiting word from Rural Development on our financing.
Yes,
Stay tuned. There's
anxiously
an
awaiting.
indication that they would like to fund some of our water projects as well.
I
as
thought
our
that
sewer-
those weren't, well,
They
they're,
weren't, but now, they've been changing things as we go. They told me yesterday that they wanted to grant us 1.4 million for the water projects, and then later on the same day, they said they wanted to grant us 2.104 million. So, stay tuned.
all right.
We're all eagerly staying in touch with them and waiting for some word on the sewer and the water projects. And the other just tidbit news, nothing concrete, is that, you remember
I
the,
think Bob has to sign that.
remember the
right.
pine tree process over in Tamworth that wanted to send us water?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, they've surfaced again, and they don't want to send as much as they did in the initial stages, but they've indicated interest again. And
What is it?
it's effluent that's just water, so we'd be processing, it'd be like light processing of a product, and it would help our revenues to bring this in, it would be easy to process.
Right, because there was an issue with trucking and the cost of transport.
Yeah, I guess they figured some of it out, and they want to bring in less than they did initially, but,
Is it
so
coming from
stay
the
tuned.
treatment plant?
No, it's coming from a
It's going from the
processor.
cooling towers of the bioenergy plant in Tamworth, Pine Tree Power. So it's cooling blow down water
From
from
chips?
their process.
From wood
the
chips? Wood chips.
Yeah. So I'm in the process right now of drafting an agreement. I believe the board agreed on 3 cents a gallon rate for them for that
Yeah.
product,
Yeah.
under the quantity that they proposed.
Right.
So I'm sure at the next meeting, we'll have that agreement ready for the board to review.
I don't know if you saw these. This is and the transfer, did you give him this thing? Yeah, okay.
Is there any reason to revisit the 3-cent rate?
I don't think so at this time. We're gonna do a 1-month pilot period.
Okay,
like
Which is
we
what you would
proposed.
agree to.
okay.
Right, and then it would be a 1-year agreement thereafter if that all goes through. And it's, we won't have to treat it, it's not the strength as typical septage. So septage, as you know, in districts, 7 cents per gallon, 8.5 for towns out of district. So this water is nowhere near the strength of septage and the.
All right, there's
the loading. There's no organic loading.
There's no, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
there's no organic material, it's just what they're using in their cooling towers,
Right.
Yeah, it'd be
like
good.
water.
It'd be water, yeah.
The pH and alkalinity is favorable for our process.
And we don't expect any influence on the RBCs.
Nope, we do not, and if we do, we would have that option to terminate.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
This could be win-win
Yeah.
Yep,
and a revenue getter for our
yep,
septic unit. Needs to pay for itself.
The
excellent.
contract was for what length of time? Like a year or something?
We're gonna do a,
Well, that's probably-
1 month pilot
Oh, that's
test,
right, that's right.
and then it would be a 1-year agreement
Okay.
thereafter.
Yeah. Good. Well, there's no public, so no public comment. We have upcoming public hearings on our revised rules and regulations.
Do we know
Coming.
when that's gonna be?
No,
Okay.
But
no, I
We're
spoke
getting-
with the attorney today and
we're getting closer.
she knows she owes us
Okay.
work. It's, and we know this too, the work she's reviewing is very dense.
Well, we already looked at it, so. Jason wrote it, it's gonna be dense.
Cover all your steps.
I was gonna
She
say,
said
it's-
her memo is gonna be dense too. I told her to take editorial privileges and
Yep.
besides the legal advice.
If it can be simplified, I'm more than amenable
Yeah.
to agreeing to
Yeah,
that.
and she'll help us.
okay.
Well, if that's...
And next meeting,
Oh, next meeting, June 12 and June 26.
26, yeah.
I can't make the 12th.
that's the second and fourth,
Yep,
Judy.
it is.
I did that for you.
Yep, my dad's birthday, sorry,
Okay.
I'm not gonna be here.
So what's your pleasure? In 2 weeks, we have the 5th. So I wanted to do that, but I was deferring to you. And I know that I have a...
That should be all right for me,
I have
if you
a...
want to do that.
I have a late afternoon conflict on the 19th, so if we wanted to meet on the 19th, I could come, but I'll come late, or we can meet at 6 or something instead of, I mean, I have...
Is there any reason we couldn't do the 5th and the 26th?
No.
Or do we
no,
wanna
there's no-
keep it
there's
every
no
2
reason.
weeks and do
There's no
the
reason, that's
Yeah,
only
let's do the,
Fifth.
let's do the
5th and the 26th.
Yeah,
I like
for-
that.
For now, yeah.
And you know, if we get news from RD, I will let you know.
Yes.
Great. 6:13.
5:30?
Yes, this meeting
Yeah,
is adjourned.
5:30.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
You can just call it.
Meeting is adjourned, 6:13.